This guy commissioned a caterpillar of... So my thoughts on furries went from ew to okay to just a fuzzier version of the anime fandom.
Search your feelings, you know it to be true.
I went to MFF when I was living in Chicago. So it's Christmas, I'm broke as hell, and I'm in college, and I was like, how am I gonna make some extra money with anything? Couldn't find a job, really failed at a lot of stuff, but I could draw. And then I found out from one of my friends that you get a free table at this con. I was like, what con? And they were like, I don't know. And it was like, what con? And they were like, Furry Con. And I'm like, huh. So what do I do when I want to make some money? I went to this Furry Con. So here's how it was set up. It was like this lottery system where if you got in that day, you got pretty much a free half table, which is unheard of because I've been going to conventions since 2002. I'm like old when it comes to conventioning, and I've never heard of a free Artist Alley table. But I was like, free table? I got some art and some art prints from, doing Artist Alley before. I could whip up some furry stuff just to sell at the convention too. Why not? And so I took my tools, I took my prints, and I went off to, and I didn't really know much about the fandom except they wear fursuits and a lot of people hate them. Really, that's pretty much it. But when you actually compare that and any other fandom, oh no, they have sex and porn. I come from the anime fandom where not only there's sex and porn, but way more illegal sex and porn. But at the same time, I was heading to a furry con. They have that reputation. And me being insecure as I am, because I am an insecure, anxious, kind of depressed, pretty crazy, weird person, I decided to put on a disguise. Mohawk hat? Check. Sunglasses? Check. Bandana? Check. I looked like I was about to rob a bank, except I was about to, I guess, rob everyone's ability to do art with my own. All I know is I was trying to make myself small and not stand out, even though the disguise itself made me stand out more. And I was still noticed by an acquaintance of mine. It was like, hey, Viga. And I'm like, oh shit, it's too obvious. Really, it's because I had my usual Mohawk hat. But yeah, then I decided, let's just get my badge and whatever. So I entered the lottery and got in. I ended up sitting next to some really cool people. One taught me that, yeah, dragons are a thing. Like, I think they call them scalies. One taught me all of the cool terms and some cool people in the fandom that I gotta know about. And one actually really bailed me out because I barely had any change and they were super prepared. You can ask anyone I've tabled with at a convention. I always forget one or two things on the way to the convention. It could be change. It could be an actual print I left in the hotel room. It could be sometimes food. And then sometimes there's usually someone who comes along who bails me out a little bit. It was pretty cool. Like, just meeting these really cool people, and it actually changed my impression a bit on furries and people in the furry fandom. They seemed so welcoming and interesting. And yeah, they were into other stuff, like same video games and anime and cartoons I was. And I thought, these people aren't bad. Why the hell was I even, kind of scared or, kind of thought badly of them? Was it just because everyone does? I mean, for years, they were the whipping boys of all of the fandoms. And I thought, yeah, I think I'm going to change my stance completely. 180. Then came boobypillar. This guy, he came up to one of my neighbors And I'm working on a commission, and, you know, I just overheard all of this. And I still can't believe that they actually commissioned this thing. And so the guy comes up, skinny looking guy, white, obviously, because most of that fandom's white as hell. Glasses. I'm pretty much describing probably half the people listening to this. Their commission was a furry woman, but she had boobs, like really huge boobs. I mean, like the type of boobs you see in hentai that are freaking, how do I describe it? Triple G cup, maybe even triple Z cup. But because I think this was a caterpillar furry, that their boobs also were like their legs, and so you have like this just kind of boobs everywhere, like this line of boobs, like 10 boobs in a row. And I don't mean to kink shame. Everyone has their kink. I mean, people will say horrible stuff on the fact that I like bara or, I don't know, big titty stuff and whatever. As someone who was, I guess, more pure back then, I've never heard of boobypillar, a caterpillar of boobs. This guy commissioned a caterpillar of boobies. But it didn't stop at the caterpillar boobie. Because not only he made his commission to this lovely young lady that was sitting next to me, he then tried to, you know, put the Mac on. And it took all of my power to not bust out laughing right after he said this. Hey, so you want to have a little art party later? You know, in my room? And I'm just like, after commissioning a boobypillar, you're really gonna try and do that? And he's like, yeah, we could like draw art in my hotel room. And I'm just like, wow, are you serious? And this guy looked kind of sketchy. I mean, yeah, I described him as thin white guy with glasses, but there's thin white guy with glasses, and then there's sketchy looking thin white guy with glasses. Usually with some sort of unkept stubble, and I'm still describing half of you listening to this, honestly. And when he left, I just looked at her, and she looked at me, and we were both like, what the fuck? Did he just try to ask me out to his room? So, I had to go to the bathroom. Someone watched the fort for me. And of course, I run into another friend who I did not expect who was even into this. Because, again, furries aren't really thought well of. Yeah, there's lots of cool people who are furries. I mean, freaking Sonic Fox, one of the coolest mofos. Even if you're into it, you don't really tell any of your friends who are in other fandoms because of that same judgment. And so we're both like, hey, and they're like, hey, so, what you doing? And it's like, yeah, I'm just here with some friends. Oh, yeah, same here. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Are you into... No. Are you... No. Actually, I lied. I am. And I was like, yeah, I'm just here to make some money because I'm broke as hell. And I have to admit, the plan was going pretty well. I sold a bunch of prints because I didn't have much furry stuff. I think I made a couple furry like artwork for the convention, but mostly I just sold my like other stuff like Steven Universe stuff and anime pics and things like that. And those actually sold like hotcakes, probably because no one expected to see that sort of art there because everyone's there for furry stuff. So I guess being the little unicorn with all the huskies worked out. Anyway, I run into this friend. We, get to chatting. I tell him what I've been learning and, I get invited to one of their room parties. And I was like, okay, cool, room parties. That is something that every convention has. I will tell you this, hint for the future, best conventions that have the best room parties, sci-fi cons. And I love parties, so of course when there's a party, I need to go to it. Because there's the thing about parties, free booze. But yeah, okay, I'm at this party, People in half fursuit because, can't wear that all day. Gotta chill out the head or whatever. People getting ready for the rave. It was more low-key than I imagined, but it was kind of good. Relaxing after a day of, work in the art field. And then this guy went a bit too far and just started dropping slurs all over the place. Not slurs for black people, but slurs for Hispanic people. And two of the people at the party obviously got mad and turned into a fist fight because I don't care who you are. Why the hell would you be dropping just casual slurs and stuff at a freaking party? At a convention? I mean, maybe it's because the furry fandom is freaking white as hell. And yeah, there are black furries, but yeah, it is a freaking white ass fandom. Its saving grace is that it's a very queer and open, open with all sorts of sexualities and identities and genders and stuff like that. Genderly, sexually, orientationally, yeah, it's pretty diverse in that respect, but when it comes to race, I think I was the third black person there or something, and that was including the friend I bumped into. So part of me is kind of not surprised, but also surprised that, holy shit, why would you do that? And I'm like, well, about to see a fight, and I think that's my cue to get the hell out of here. So I just started heading to the rave by myself because I didn't really have much to do. I didn't see any panels that really appealed to me, and face it, I paid for this badge, might as well get my money's worth and really check out, I guess, the fandom. And I was like, you know what? Raves. Everyone likes raves. Even anime cons have freaking dances and stuff like that. Let's go check this out. This was the sparsest rave I've been to. It was like in a big room, but it seemed just peppered with a few people. I mean, there was probably some more interesting stuff happening at the time, like dance contests, which is pretty unique to furry cons, and apparently it's just really big in them. Those really get the people in. I had a friend who even competed in one, and I'm like, wow, how do you do all those moves in that suit? It's like, how? I got in an argument with, I think, some random guy who was being just an asshole because I bumped into them. I was still doing commissions all the way up till the end of the convention, even in the lobby, because some of them I had to take home with me. And of course, when your roommate asked you, hey, what were you doing all weekend? I didn't want to say, hey, I was at a furry con, so I just kind of explained the story of what I was doing all weekend, but surrounded it with this art festival, I guess, skin, and then a rave, and then made it sound so cool, like I was just this coolest city girl going around Chicago with random people and going to cool parties and cool hotels and going to a rave and selling art and hobnobbing with other fellow artists. No, I was at a goddamn furry con. I have to admit, for a first time, MFF? Not bad. The only reason I went to is because it was in Chicago, or adjacent to Chicago, where I was living at the time. If I was, say, a whole, state away, I wouldn't have been able to swing it because I was broke as hell. Made enough money for the holidays to get myself back home. And I went away learning a lot from that weekend. Ever since, I do commissions for furry stuff as well as just, non-furry stuff. Heck, you're seeing one commission that I'm doing right now. Girl gotta make him some money. It is almost Christmas again, and I'm in a similar situation. Except this time I got a broken sink. I opened up Your Character Here commissions. 25 for just inks or 45 for color. I've already done a few, and you can find them on my Twitter right here at Viga, or my Instagram at Viga's Art Room, where you should be following me anyway. I've been updating a lot more. Thanks to all these patrons, and the only Christmas gift I want is to reach 1,000 subscribers. So if you guys help me with that, that'd be great. And I decided to, put up a little challenge. If I get 1,000 subscribers, I will do a retrospective on how to draw manga books. You know, those how to draw manga books. Anyway, see you next video.